What's up? What's up? What's up, social fam? This is your boy Bo Knows here at Bo Knows Production, and I'm coming back to you guys with part two, or episode two, however you want to look at it, of my mother's maternal line. Um, like I said before in the previous video, if you haven't watched it, go watch it. That's part one of my mother's maternal line. I wanted to do a series of videos just looking at ancestry, genealogy. I love doing it, so I just want to share that with you guys, and also, um, so I could, you know, give this to the universe. It's all about sharing. I could share this with you. Maybe I can inspire some of you to go find some things out, and maybe we'll see if we're even related, or you may find those relatives that you don't even know. So, without further ado, I want to kick off part two to tracing my roots, my mother's maternal line. Some people know their grandmothers as someone they visit on weekends, holidays, during summer break. I knew my grandmother as home. She didn't just come before me, my grandmother raised me. In the last episode, I started tracing my mother's maternal line, the women behind my existence. But this time it's deeper than research because the woman I'm focusing on today is the one who helped raise me. She raised me, y'all, into who I am today. So it's personal. My grandmother, my mother had me at 15. So from the beginning, my grandmother stepped in. I lived with her all the way through high school. So when I'm tracing my roots, I'm not starting with a stranger. I'm starting with someone whose voice I remember, whose house I grew up in, whose presence shaped my life every day. My grandmother was Clara Sibley, but that just wasn't a name and a record. She was the person who loved God and people. She cooked, she disciplined, she supported, she protected. The one who made sure I had structure, love, and guidance. The one who held things together when life could go wrong or couldn't go any other way. She just carried the family line. She carried me. And now that I look at this through a different lens, like a genealogy lens, I'm realizing something deeper. The strength I saw in her didn't start with her, it came from somewhere else. It came from someone before her. That's crazy, huh? So, here's what I know about her story so far. I know my grandmother was born in 1939. I know her mother had about 11 kids before her. I know my grandmother also raised 7 kids of her own, you know, and me. She cared for her mother until she passed away in 1972, while mothering my mother, that was only one. She lived through Jim Crow South era with 5 kids, with a white passing husband before the Civil Rights Act. So let that sit in. Her husband or her baby daddy could pass for white. And obviously, my grandmother was a black woman. And she lived with him, had 5 kids. And this is before the Civil Rights Act. That's a lot, huh? But she would tell me stories about how she would be in public with my grandfather, and whenever he had to go get something from the store, he'll just slick his hair to the side and go right into the white only interest. My grandmother would express to me how scared she'll be because this is 1950 in the South, and it wasn't a cakewalk for blacks. But even with all the time I spent with my grandmother, there's still things I never got to ask, things I wish I knew. And that's the part that hits different. Because when someone raises you, you don't always think about their past or to ask about their past. You just live in the love that they give you. Now I'm going back trying to understand her, not just as my grandmother, but as a woman, as a daughter, a part of a lineage that continues through me. I'm just, I wish I would have had a tape recorder or just, it's crazy. So this journey is personal, in a different way. I'm not just looking for records. I'm looking for her story beyond what I experienced. I know who raised her. I know where she came from, but what did she carry before she ever carried me? So, through research, ancestry, or histories, I do realize that about the age of 15 in 1954, my grandmother got married, you know, to a man that none of my uncles or aunts have any information on because this was before her first child in 1956, you know. So, what I am going to do, I'm going to try to obtain the marriage license so I can dig a little further, get his birthday, see how much older he was than her. Because, like, from history of, like, talking to my grandmother, like, asking her, like, how did you get this last name? And she's saying, like, well, I married, a guy named Charles Henderson. But after we married, he moved to another state. I never seen him again. But in that instance, then I wasn't really, I didn't know my grandmother was 15. I would have been like, why did you get married at 15? Like, what's going on here? Now that I know she's no longer here, so I can't really ask her that, But if you still have someone in your life who raised you, ask them the questions. Learn their stories while you can. And if you're like me going back to piece things together, you're not alone in this. In the next episode, I'm going to even go deeper into her lineage, uncovering the woman who raised her. Because this story didn't just start with my grandmother, but through her, it reached me. Peace.